You are watching Farm Kenya, brought to you by Fugo.
Akishiba, utashiba. Fugo layer feed, Fugo kienyeji feed, and broiler 2-stage and 3-stage diet. Products of Unga Farm Care.
Well, hello there. Welcome back. You are watching Farm Kenya. My name is Kelvin Nyakundi, and today we are talking about tree planting and, of course, agroforestry. And joining us is Francis Odor, who is the national lead of the Farm Trees program. Thank you so much for joining us. All right. So when you talk about My Farm Trees, what are we exactly talking about? Give us a little bit about that.
Thank you so much for the invitation and to discuss about this. My Farm Trees is a digital platform that is currently being piloted by the Alliance of Biodiversity International CIAT as in one of their program areas. And this particular platform is designed to assist smallholder farmers who are actually the people who are most affected by climate crisis and who hold almost 80% of the land in Kenya, but also across the globe. So this platform is designed so that they can assist these smallholder farmers to identify the right species to plant in their respective farms that integrates well with their crops, but also to provide economic incentives to farmers so that they're able to take care of these trees and make sure that they are nurtured to grow to their maturity. So yeah, this is the platform. It uses data to know which trees are best fit for which particular areas, and also to give the incentives to farmers that are given in their funds. The technology, it integrates also blockchain technology to ensure that the data that is passing through it is something that can be reliable to the farmers.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And speaking about the reliability to farmers, let us look at what you've talked about, the blockchain and the data that it uses in order to get the information to the farmers. So a farmer who is in an area where maybe they are not still using smartphones, some farmers might be still stuck on the traditional ways. Do you have a way of getting to them in order for them to get this information?
So thank you. I think I would give a brief background of how we have come up with this My Farm Trees and how we have developed the technology together with the farmers. So back in 2022, when we launched this project, and we had a lot of community engagements with farmers in different locations, we are conducting this pilot. So to be specific, the pilot is currently being piloted in Turkana County, in Laikipia County, and in Siaya County. And all these three were selected strategically because they have different issues that we are trying to address with the platform. If we take, for example, in Siaya County, where Siaya County is one of the counties in Kenya that we can say that has very good climate. But then if you look at the forest cover, it's actually less than 1%. It's actually estimated at 0.23%. This is very low if you compare to other counties. And if you look at a county like Turkana County and Laikipia County, these are regionally pastoral. They are actually pastoralist counties. And these are people who have not been basically doing a lot of farming and also planting trees. But if you look at their landscapes, is that they are the ones who are most affected by the climate crisis. And so they have to be part of the solution. And in fact, these are people who are part of the solution. And so in developing the platform, we have discussed with them and to come up with a way that we can be able to develop the platform that addresses their issues, that takes care of the fact that these are areas, some of these areas are areas that are known to have low literacy levels, but that the platform can still be used. So to wind it up is that we have made it possible that you can be able to work with the people around these community areas that have access to smartphone, and they can assist us, and they're trained to assist and register other farmers who do not have the smartphones. All they need to have is their M-Pesa number. And so each and every person that is registered and plants the tree, that this M-Pesa number the money that is sent can go directly to the owner of the number and not necessarily the person with the smartphone. So that is how we have integrated the system to make sure that it's all inclusive and that it can be used everywhere, not minding which location of the country you're working in, whether you have access to a smartphone or not.
Okay, thank you so much for explaining that. Now, let us look at Alliance of Biodiversity International and SEAT, looking at, in Africa, looking at Kenya and Cameroon to pilot this particular project. Why Kenya and why Cameroon? Why not other different countries?
So Kenya is supported by so many things that we are looking at. First, Kenya is one of the countries that is also signatory to a lot of agreements to make sure that we can be able to be addressing the climate crisis that we are facing in the world. But Kenya also has very low forest cover. It's only estimated at about 6.9 or about 7% thereabout, against the target of 10%. And so this forms a very good basis for which we should be trying technologies and trying approaches that can work with farmers. And as well, Kenya also has a lot of advancement in terms of digital platforms and also the M-Pesa system, which is currently like almost universal in Kenya. And so we wanted to select a country that has both a disadvantage in terms of forest cover, and so that we are able to see how this changes over time. And so that is the basis for selection of Kenya, and also for selection of the three areas that we're also working in. The same can also be said for Cameroon. Cameroon has really almost the opposite sides of the coin. They have good forest cover, but then the coverage in terms of M-Pesa system or digital payment system is quite low. And so we also wanted two countries that are also somehow contrasting, so that we can be able to see the overall feel of how things are across the Africa region.
Now, the way you've explained about the platform, what makes it different from the traditional tree planting projects that often fail to take off or fail to achieve what the purpose was for? Because we've had very many projects. We want to plant this number of trees by this year. We want to plant 15 billion trees by 2032. Of course, we've not reached 2032, but what makes this one different?
Yeah, so first of all, I would say that this platform recognizes that who is at the center of crisis and who has the solution. And we identify that smallholder farmers, who form 80% of the farmers across the country and of course across the globe, are the solution. We are not seeing them as part of the solution, but we are seeing them that they have the solution. And in so recognizing, we also we want to make a comparison. We have a common Swahili saying which can be loosely translated to that giving birth is not the challenge, but taking care of the child up to the time that becomes an adult and who can contribute significantly to the community. This is the whole work. So people celebrate early that have planted so many trees, but this is not the real deal. The real deal is making sure that this tree survives. And so that is why we have identified that smallholder farmers, and these trees are planted on their farmland so that they continue to take care of the trees as they grow and nurture these trees to make sure that they survive. And aside from that is that we are also identifying that these trees need to be the right trees that are addressing the farmer problems. And so we help them through this platform to identify which species are right for their environment and for their activities, so that these trees can be seen to be also benefiting the farmers directly and not just the environment. This is a key, factor in the success of the project. So that the trees are multi-purpose. They can be addressing, for example, you can get fodder from it, you can get fruits from it, and also integrating this with incentives. So which is the final component of that success that we are talking about, that farmers can be able to earn incentives to take care of their short-term requirements, that they can earn income as they are taking care of the trees. And so in a way, we are addressing the climate justice that we are seeing, because we are talking of farmers who are already facing the crisis while they contribute least. But they want them to be we are saying that there's a solution, but then we should be able to also give them some incentives so that they are economically empowered And so this is how we are changing the perspective and changing the lives of these farmers through the platform.
All right. And now, in planting the trees, do you think it's good enough to tell the farmer, this is the type of tree that you need to plant? Are there types of trees that are being advised to be planted, or it's just any other tree? Because they're incorporating them in their farms. So with these trees that they're planting, is there a specific type?
So we are not advising on any specific type of trees, but we are advising on trees that are resilient to the area that they're supposed to be planted, trees that are directly addressing the issues that we are talking about. And so we are integrating the traditional wisdom together with the current technology and the current data that we are having, so that farmers can be able to identify trees that are specifically addressing their needs. And for my farm trees, we are specifically interested in working with the native trees that have been there in the landscape, and that are also providing a lot of environmental benefits to this whole situation, but also benefits to the farmer. And so what we are talking about is that trees that can be in the landscape long enough so that farmers, as they benefit from the incentives, the environment benefits, but we are also looking ahead in future that these trees are going to be economically viable for the farmer. This is as opposed to the exotic trees that will be cut down in the short term, maybe 4 or 5 years later, somebody slashes that down. And so that is because we are focusing more on the native trees. That is how also the incentives come in to make sure that farmers are motivated to continue with the whole planting of the trees, and growing the trees is the word. Yeah.
All right. It's good you've brought out growing of the trees, because often we usually hear we are planting trees. I've planted a tree. How many trees have you planted? 100. But now let's look at tree growing. What goes into tree growing? Because at the end of the day, you want to achieve a good result from what you planted. So let's go to the growing. What goes into that?
So tree growing first means that we are working with the people who are responsible for making sure that the tree grows. This is the real deal, because then if you are not identifying the person who will take care of the trees, then you are likely not to succeed in that. We have seen many cases where people plant, especially if you go to the up country, you often plant like so many trees, and then you hope to find them when you go back in December holidays, only to find maybe 1 or 2 that is surviving. The rest have been either dried because there was nobody to water them, there was nobody to take care of them from the wild or any roaming animals. And so tree growing means that there's somebody in charge. And for us to make sure that there's somebody in charge, we have this platform which helps us to track how many trees that are planted and how many are still surviving, and how are people taking care of the trees. Because trees, like human, like animals, they get sick. Somebody has to be there to provide the medication that they require, maybe in terms of watering the plant, or even getting off some pesticides or some animals that might destroy them. So that process of making sure that the trees, somebody is taking care of the trees, that the trees are being nurtured, this is what we are calling tree growing. And that is how the platform comes to help that trees are getting tracked every other time, like every 3 months, that people are going there to check. The farmers themselves are checking. And also it is important that this is also integrated in their farms, so that they are doing agroforestry.
Yes.
So as they continue to produce their maize, as they continue to produce their potatoes, they are also taking care of the trees and nurturing the trees to make sure that they survive. This is opposed to planting somewhere in the wild and then letting them survive by their own. So this is what we are looking at really as a solution.
Okay.
Yeah.
And even as you've explained, potatoes, you have different plants that the farmer is working with. Let's look at the challenges, the main challenges when it comes to implementing the My Farm Trees program, the challenges that you've been able to meet, and how did you seal those gaps?
Yeah, just like any other new innovations, My Farm Trees also faces some challenges that we are also addressing. I would say the first of the challenges that we are looking at is that the preference of farmers to exotic trees. farmers tend to prefer exotic trees because of the short-term benefits that they're likely to get. Like they can be able to harvest some poles or some timber. But then the real restoration is something that looks at the long term, especially if our aim is to address the climate crisis that the world is currently facing. So with time we have realized that as we continue to work with the farmers and as they continue to benefit through the incentives that comes to them and through the educational purposes, the intended education that we are providing the platform, they are able to now start adapting and are embracing more the native species that existed previously. They're also seeing that now we are actually not just benefiting ourselves, and we are benefiting the whole community through the ecosystem services that are provided by the same trees. And so farmers are beginning to embrace this. So that is one of the challenges that we have faced. The other challenge also relates to technology. As you mentioned earlier, you asked earlier how we were addressing this, because then there are other people who do not have access to smartphones.
Yes. Or
some areas that are not covered by the internet. So because the platform requires internet to synchronize data, we have been able to, in fact, develop the versions that do not require internet access, that people can go to the field, they collect that data that is required, and then later when they get to areas with internet, that they can synchronize and the data is sent for verification. Also that we are making use of people that we have trained within the community, mostly youthful people and of course women, to make sure that they're also benefiting through this whole process. So these are some of the interventions that we are already taking into place. Yeah.
Right. Now let's look at sustainability, because you see often when a project starts, there's all the zeal, there's every you want it to work out and you want it to get to the farthest that it can get to, but you find that after some time the zeal goes down, the psyche to do all these things goes down. So the sustainability, what are the plans for it to be sustainable and even for it to spread to other different regions?
Thank you. So in modeling my farm trees, we had this very question in our mind. And to address this first is that we are developing the platform in a manner that it should be able to also link with the carbon credit markets, so that farmers can continue to receive incentives even when this pilot phase ends. And we can even be able to bring in more farmers who are interested and who are planting trees so that they continue to benefit. So this whole platform provides like a platform to connect farmers who are the real deal or real growers of trees to the carbon credits, so that they can be able to continue to benefit as they restore our environment. The second sustainability plan that we have put in place is that we have trained farmers, and these farmers are now experts, and they are expert in platform use. And so even when the old farmers who are already experienced farmers, they can be able to train other farmers on platform use and even spread this whole message to other farmers across the areas that we work and across the communities. So we also have other issues that we are addressing, like trying to link this to with the county governments, with NGOs, with other programs that are interested in planting trees, that they are able to, for example, link with the climate finances, that farmers can be able to get this information, and governments can also provide support for the farmers that are growing trees. But also it's important to also consider that the selection of the trees is important, because when we select multipurpose trees, what we are saying is that these trees are not just beneficial to the environment, they are beneficial to the farmers. They are food trees, they are fodder trees, they are shade trees, and so all these benefits, farmers are seeing them like it's as part of incentives, that I have to take care of my avocado tree because then I will harvest avocado 2-3 years later. That I have to take care of these plants because my animals will depend on them for fodder. So all these are important sustainability plans that we have put in place for this project to make sure that it achieves the dream that we have for it.
Okay. Now let's look at Kenya. We are supposed to be achieving 15 billion trees by 2032, and first of all, are we on that? Are we on the journey to that? And because so far we have like almost over 820 million trees planted so far before 2032. So what does this mean for us as a country? Are we towards the 15 billion mark?
I would say that we are doing quite well, looking at all the initiatives, looking at how people are seeing also tree planting and embracing it. These are some of the important ingredients for success and for achieving these targets that have been put in place. So if you look at that record and looking at how projects work or programs work, at the beginning it appears to be very slow. But as people grasp the things and they come to know why it is important to plant the trees, and other programs are also coming in place, we are providing data to show which tree species are working well in which areas and which ones are surviving. Then slowly by slowly, I'm seeing that people are going to achieve this and even maybe surpass it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. Even as you speak about surpassing that, going forward, technology has come and you are using it as well. You are collecting data. And in the next 1 year, what are we looking at in terms of growth, in terms of involving different kinds of smallholder farmers in this going forward?
So I see in the near future, I see a very a future that embraces technology to make sure that all restoration work and tree planting and agroforestry is all integrated so that data is provided timely to make sure that people are making decisions that are data driven. And this is a recipe for success. So we are seeing people embracing platforms like My Farm Trees, and other organizations and even governments are able to incentivize farmers who are the real players, who are the real people who are benefiting the ecosystem and who are addressing the climate crisis. Mm-hmm. We have been hearing a lot about people talking about climate change and how to address it, but then the real deal is in the smallholder farmers, and these are the people who all like the biggest share of the land cover is under their own management. And so with the use of technology, with the use of selecting the right species and the use with the right information that we provide to the farmers, we expect that this is all going to what we are going to see in the near future. Mm-hmm. Technology that is driving success.
Mm-hmm. All right, and even as we wrap up, as we finish, your parting shot, what would you like to tell the smallholder farmer who is not incorporated in the tree planting and also in this particular platform?
So I would like to invite all the farmers that My Farm Trees is something that they need to embrace, whether you are a seed collector, whether you are a nursery manager, or whether you are a farmer, because My Farm Trees is one of the first technologies that is making use of blockchain and taking care of the whole value chain of tree planting, from seed collection to the nursery and to the farm, mm-hmm. to make sure that all these platforms are communicating to each other, so that when you collect information from the seeds, then this all data can be tracked all to the farm. Mm-hmm. And so we are inviting farmers to register their farms and their trees and start benefiting from My Farm Trees and the digital payments.
All right, thank you so much for joining us on Farm Kenya. All right, there you have it. That is Francis Odor, who is the national lead of the My Farm Trees program, speaking to us about tree planting in Kenya. My name is Kelvin Nyakundi. We've come to the end of this edition of Farm Kenya. Stick around for KTN.
Tufanye kazi pamoja na tukue pamoja.